Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sealed for Good. I'm your host Shandy, and we're continuing on with the topic of waterproofing in winter. So the longer the membrane takes to cure, the longer it's going to be in a more fragile state. So it really is essential to try and get the products to cure to its full curing point, so then you can be ensured of its durability and its performance. So if the product stays in its sort of semi-cured state and somebody walks on it or something gets dropped on it, or if it comes in contact with water, it can actually re-emulsify as it fully cured. So that's generally the worst case scenario in the colder months, and we've had plenty of inquiries around that. I know that our QC department is probably tired of me requesting checks on our retains to make sure that it's not the product, that it is in fact the temperature. And 99.9% of the time, it's always the ambient temperature that's causing products to re-emulsify, they blister, and all sorts of things. You need to be really, really aware of what the conditions are on that site to make sure that you have left sufficient time before you go and then do your flood test. And that's why we do keep the low temperature curing times as an open-ended question, because we do prefer the contractors and people applying the products to get in contact with us so we can best guide them, right? So we'll ask very specific questions about the conditions on site to help guide them to make sure that the product is ready for a flood test. So re-emulsification is probably the number one. So the product hasn't fully cured, it comes in contact with water prematurely, and then that product will break down, right? So, and this is really quite specific to the water-based products. We don't have these issues. You can, but we don't. It's not very common for the cement-based membranes to have these issues. And also, it's probably worth mentioning the new product that will be hitting our shelves soon, which is the Gripset SMP61, which is a moisture curing membrane. You wouldn't expect to have that sort of scenario with that product either. So freezing temperatures is a tricky one. So that's really specialized applications. And there's a range of them. Areas where you have, where you need high chemical resistance. There's a whole raft of different, you could almost call it different industry altogether. It's not a common application. But we do have products that can withstand freezing conditions as long as they've been allowed to cure and they can be installed in, within the normal range. If the temperatures do drop to freezing, they'll stay pliable, they'll stay flexible, they don't become brittle and snap. We definitely have a range of products for that as well. So I think ultimately it comes down to the manufacturer and how much they understand the product they're putting forward. So like I've mentioned in other videos, we're pretty lucky to have a really strong, experienced R&D team, and we do put our products through some pretty aggressive testing. So it really comes down to, what are the parameters as far as the products being applied in the right type of environment, and also the expertise behind that. You should never be adding water unless it's a product you need to add water, like C1P. It's not something that we'd recommend, because ultimately you're actually adjusting the formula of the product itself. So we would no longer know what the performance of those products would be. It's anyone's guess. So checking on the day is probably the most crucial part during the application, and you'd want to sort of have an understanding of what the conditions were leading up to the application, for sure. And as importantly, during the curing as well. You want to have an understanding of it, but the reality is you're only going to really be able to check prior and during application. Once you've applied the membrane, you'll be checking the temperature of the membrane itself, which may not reflect what's going on underneath it. One of them was actually using the 38 of C, and it wasn't a cold temperature one, but it was a high humidity situation where we were sort of up north in Queensland. The contractor was doing a public bathroom, and it was dug into earth, and there was really high humidity. So I checked the weather patterns for him. He had applied the 38 of C, and after 3 days, it was still a completely wet state. I had a look, they will experience humidity of around 90%. I said to him, look, at this point, if you want to continue with the job, you need to scrape it up. let whatever residue there to dry, and then we got him to switch to the Gripset 2P cement-based membrane. So he was able to apply that, and then the next day it was cured sufficiently for him to be able to continue with the screeding and tile application. So look, at the end of the day, it's really important, the communication between the waterproofing contractor and the client, whether that be a private resident or a builder, and just getting everyone to understand what the challenge is, right? So a lot of the time we sort of reduce the options because we're very tight on the budget side of things or the expectations to use a particular product and a particular method. I think communicating and understanding that it's to everyone's benefit to have consistent results. And consistent results doesn't mean using the same thing time and time again. It's understanding the products that we have at our disposal, how they function, how they cure, and the type of applications that they're best suited for. So just having that conversation, having examples of when you've had these challenges is important. Keeping a portfolio of where you've had success as well in the colder weather would really make a big difference as far as communicating. So look, I think, like I've mentioned many times, we're lucky as far as what the R&D department is able to do. So we have might as well bring it out, this one here, which is the first of the SMP technology moisture curing hybrid membranes, and we're going to have a range of these type of products moving forward. We also have on the horizon some improved versions of our water-based products as well, and all these products are really designed to give better outcomes in the colder months. So we hope you found this episode useful, and next time the cold weather comes around, you're better prepared. Thanks for everyone that provided these questions for us to present. So until next time, happy waterproofing.